Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's MaeNine here with you today, coming at you with a 4-3-1-2 tactical review. Some of you have been asking for this. I've been using it a lot recently. It's brought me back to the elite promised land, and I couldn't be happier with the balance and the way that it's playing. I wanted to give you a kind of an example, a live example of how I utilize the formation, the way that I chop and change it during the match, and what better way than to dive into some of the sweatiest gameplay that there is in Div 1 Rivals. So if we jump into it, here's the team we're going to be using. It's balanced, much like the formation itself. I think that I have just about the perfect mix here to show how I utilize the formation. So if we go into the custom tactics, we'll break it down really quickly. The 4-3-1-2 is how I'm going to start each and every match in the defensive style. All it is a slightly more reserved version of the 4-3-1-2 as I feel out my opponent and see where we're at. If we're relatively equal in skill, if he's putting on pressure and I'm getting my chances, then I'm certainly going to leave it right here in defensive. Now, if I'm starting to notice that I'm on the front foot, things are going well, I'm feeling confident in the fact that I'm slightly better than my opponent, I'm going to move up to the attacking. The difference is so subtle. It's barely noticeable, but it does make a difference in the way that the fullbacks enter into the play and get involved, and so I like to move to that when I feel like I'm on the front foot. The ultra defensive is for those last 10 minutes. You know it's coming, you can feel it. EA's doing everything they can to get your opponent back into the match, and so you need to do something, and so I drop to the ultra defensive. It doesn't have the drop back style, but it is a extremely reserved version of the 4-3-1-2. I know lots of people prefer to change formations in these situations. I dislike it because in the game, you've got players moving everywhere, they're out of position, and in the end it causes more commotion than it's worth. I also feel like I get familiar with the formation, I know where players are going to be and what they're going to do, and so why would I change that? The ultra attacking is one I hope I don't have to use. It's when I'm down in a match. Anytime after about the 55th, 60th minute, I'm starting to look to move to ultra attacking. It's kind of my sweet spot of where I don't want to be down anymore. I want to try and push, I want to try it, and you might as well throw everything at your opponent. And that's just the way I play. I'm either tying the match or I'm losing by 3, and that's just kind of how I like to go at it. So what I'm going to do is jump into a match. I'm going to go through how I'm going to start, and then from there, as I switch, I will jump back to the recorded videos of how I've looked at these formations. So the plan for this review is to start off with the 4-3-1-2. I'm going to go through exactly how I set up and how I use that. And then as I get into a match where I start to need some of these other versions of the formation, I will come back and give you an example of how I've set up those custom tactics so that in the game, in that moment, you can see my thinking and you can understand why I did so. So first off, if we jump into the defensive formation, this is how I'm going to start every match. It's pretty straightforward. We've got the 5 width. I don't want to have the team spread out too wide. One thing that is extremely interesting about this formation is that defensively, you'll notice that your cam pulls out to the wing. And what this does is it allows for an easy outlet when you're trying to play forward, and it keeps you from just banging the ball up the center. I know for a lot of us, especially those that aren't high-ranking players, even like myself, I don't consider myself a high-ranking player. I'm trying my best, but I just, I can't break to Elite 1. But one of my biggest issues is, in any match, I start to play too quickly, right? I bang the ball up to an attacking mid, play it into striker's feet, hope for the best, and lose a lot of possession. Whereas with this formation, the way that they defend, with that 4 in the back line and 4 across the mid, that means my cam is constantly on the wing, and you can find those outlet passes, you can slow down the play, and you can keep the ball a little bit better. The 4 depth is about as forward as you can get without starting to expose yourself to those random through balls where your opponent spins around and just hammers a through ball. I've found that 4 depth is kind of the best area to be in position to cut those out and get back. Offensively, same idea, same width. You can see that the shift in formation, now the cam has moved into that more attacking position. I love this about the formation. It works so well. If you have a good, agile, quick cam, they get into that position before you've even noticed it, and it works fantastic. Players in the box, just that normal balance. I want players in there. I want to get into my opponent's face send people forward without exposing myself. Okay, the instructions really quickly. Rooney, I got him on get in behind, that's it. Cristiano, a target man. The reason being, when you have your opponent playing drop back and you have get in behind, what happens is, you've probably noticed it, they're constantly running offside. They're in, you're at the top of the box, and yet your attacker is standing on the goal line by the goalie, asking him what he had for breakfast, and you're screaming at him to get back into position, and he just won't do it. So the target man means that at least one is going to be in a good position. With Dybala, I have him getting into the box with crosses. I want him getting forward, and I have him on stay forward, but even still, because he pulls out to the wing, it does still offer that nice outlet pass, and I think that works just about perfect. You'll notice that Curtis Jones is on stay back while attacking, cover center, as is Petit. Okay, this is one of the subtle differences between my defensive and my attacking formation. Mateus, he is just everything the same, but cover center. It's so important that you have these three cover center, otherwise they get way too wide and you get exposed. On the wings, stay back while attacking, and this will change as we go forward, but for now, this is how we want to play. So let's jump into it. I'll point out some of the reasons why I'm enjoying the formation, some of the reasons where it might be a bit lacking, so you're prepared for that, show you some of the phases of play and how players react, and then as the match develops, we will look at some of the other options that I use. If you're enjoying this content, please leave a like, comment on what you'd like to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you are adding those alerts to see future content coming up. Alright, so if we take a look at my opponent's squad, he's got some interesting options. If anything, playing in Div 1, you see a team like this, it's almost more scary than when you see the Eusebios and Neymars and the likes of that, but perhaps just trying to put together a fun squad. So we'll see how this goes. So we've gone to our defensive tactics just until we see how good our opponent is, and then once we get a better feel for his quality and some comfort defending, then we will apply those attacking formations and see if we can't get some goals in the match. Alright, so I'm feeling confident that my opponent is quality, but I'm feeling like I'm slightly on the front foot. Defensively, I'm feeling pretty secure. Hopefully I'm not cursing myself right now. So we're going to move to the attacking style and we'll see the difference right away. Alright, so we've been on the defensive tactics. Things are going well. I'm feeling like I'm on the front foot. I'm feeling defensively secure. So I'm going to move to the attacking strategy. Sometimes right away you can see, oh, I'm a little too exposed here. I don't want this anymore. And you can go back, no problem. But for me, it always kind of adds a little bit that extra to the attack and normally leads to a lot of goals and a lot of possession and a lot of pressure on my opponent. So nothing changes with our strikers. We still have our get in behind and target man. Nothing changes with our cam, stay forward, get in the box. Nothing changes with Petit either, with stay back and cover center. But Curtis Jones is now on balanced attack, as is Mateus, so the two of them are now going to be bombing forward and they will get in the box. Sometimes I'll even put on get in the box on one of them and not the other, sometimes on both, depending really how much I'm feeling confident in the way that I'm playing. Tavernier and Adama Traore are now on balanced attack, and you are going to notice immediately, especially with a player with the work rates like Adama, how often he gets into the attack and the options that he provides and how dangerous that becomes. Overall, the formation has now become just that little bit more potent, and it should lead to some goals in the match. Let's see what happens. And there it is right there. Look at Traore, he's already in the play. He hasn't been this far forward all match, and now he's constantly going to be getting forward, causing those odd man opportunities and creating problems for my opponent. Look at the space. Traore. Oh, look at, he had to pull his wing back out. It's created a ton of space. Can Rooney finish? He can. Beautiful finish. All caused by the overlap by Traore. That is why I love that attacking style that I use. It is a bit risky, but it does pay off. So 75th minute, I'll be kicking myself if I end up conceding because I'm pushed too far forward. So I'm going to go back to the defensive strategy. You could see that it still has an attacking flair, so we'll be fine in that avenue. We're not going to be too pinned back. And as I'm talking, I end up conceding. What was the point of all that? go through all that to just concede. That was all my fault though. Poor play. Poorly defended. Didn't get out fast enough. I've decided I don't want to tie this match, so I'm going to ultra attacking. Might be a poor choice, but we'll see. Alright, so the ultra attacking formation is one that I constantly use when I'm down. It's one that I use when I'm down, and one that I often use in division rivals when I'm tied, because I'd rather lose than tie in division rivals. It's just my mindset. I don't like them, and so I want to go for the match. I'm going to go for it. In this case, I've conceded late. It's probably too late, but we're going to go for it anyway. Huge differences between this is now in the tactics. In the previous tactics, nothing changed. It was the exact same. Now we've got the constant pressure and depth all the way up to 9, just about full. We've got the fast build-up, players in the box all the way up to 9. We want everyone getting forward. We want to go at our opponent. We want to keep them under pressure. We still have narrow width because in general our wingbacks are going to be so far forward. They act as wingers anyway, so if anything I might even bring the width down a little bit more to give them that space, but I like the balance of having my CMs a little bit wider to provide that support. Nothing changes with the formation, nothing changes with the instructions for our attackers. I still want Ronaldo coming close, coming in front of his defenders, and so that's what I'm going to do. Stay forward, get in the box with Dybala. We still have to stay back while attacking with Petit because we don't want to concede a ton of goals, and in general, we've got enough bodies forward to cause a lot of problems. Get in the box now is different for Curtis Jones. Get in the box for Mateus, and we have balanced attack for our wingbacks still because they will get forward enough. Even with the high depth, they will constantly be bombing on. You'll notice right away that they are well forward, and that is going to cause my opponent a ton of issues. Right off the bat, we get a very nice ball into Tavernier, who's way forward because of the tactics. He's created some space. Neymar. Oh, I thought that was going to get through. But look at how many bodies we have forward. Look at the pressure that's on my opponent. Is he going to be able to play out of that? It's always the question. No. He's made a mistake. We get the ball back. We're going to have one more attack here with lots of bodies forward. We'll see if we can't make something of it. Mateus, what are you doing, man? Get onside. How are we supposed to create a Hollywood ending with you standing there like that? Those statistics are a bit misleading. I think I had a lot more of the ball. You can see the amount of tackles I put in. Overall, I felt like I bossed that game, but maybe I'm reading into it too much. Maybe it was closer than I feel, but overall, he scored on his one shot on target. That's always disappointing, and it was a moment of bad judgment. I should have went ultra defensive earlier, and I think I could have closed off the match, but instead, I just went to a normal defensive strategy, and it was on the fly, and it was just poor thinking and poorly executed, and so I've paid for that with a tie. This is what I should have done a little bit later. You can see that I've dropped the depth way back to 2. The width remains the same. I still want to be able to play out. I still want to make sure that my opponent doesn't have a ton of space down the wing. Player in the box is way down. I want my players staying back. Formation and instructions are still the same, but there's been some changes. Rooney is now a false 9. The reason for this is that I want him to drop back into that cam position where Dybala normally would be and pick up the ball, because otherwise we're going to be trapped in our end and we will never leave our defensive third. Ronaldo remains a target man. I want him in front of those defenders. I want to be able to play into his feet, and then he can even drop the ball back to Rooney, and then we can keep possession that few extra seconds longer for my players to get forward. Dybala is now come back on defense, so that's why Rooney has to be a false 9. He's going to stay on the edge of the box. He's not going to bomb in, and we want him coming back to aid in trying to keep the win. Petit is now on stay back while attacking, as he has always been. Stay on the edge of the box for crosses. I don't want him getting in at all. Curtis Jones, stay back while attacking, balanced crossing runs. Mateus, stay back while attacking, balanced crossing runs. I don't want him getting in the box either. Tavernier and Traore on stay back while attacking, because we want to make sure that we shore up the victory in the future. I should have done this sooner, and I cost myself the match. So I would like to just go one more match, and I think it's a bad option to have a review where your only match was a tie. That doesn't really showcase the formation at all, right? You don't want to be a tie merchant. You want to be going after guys trying to get wins. And so we'll give it one more go, see what happens. The competition in Div 1 is always so strong, but I do strongly believe in this formation, and so let's put it to the test one more time. That's more like it in Div 1. You got your Zidane, Kaká, Cruyff triangle of death there. and also a very strong backline playing Tavernier at center back. Maybe he switches with Reece James in game, that seems more likely, but it's going to be a battle. Let's see what happens. Adama with a nice turn. We're going to play out of this pressure again. Very nice. With the space for Dybala. Mateus, keep that run going. He doesn't, but it's going to come in now. It's going to work out pretty good. Are we going to open up a chance here? It's looking likely. And it's in. What a finish. He's made up for last match where he hit the post. Even with the defensive style on, you can still see the amount of chances we create is really high. I like the flow of the squad. Having those wingbacks get involved is just a whole nother level of attack though, and that's why I like it. But for now, we're going to leave it like this because my opponent's pressure is so high that having my wingbacks out of position could cause some serious issues moving forward. So we'll just leave it like this for now and see how it goes. Tackle Ronaldo. Chris Jones will artificially create the width that Traore normally would. Now my opponent's got to deal with all the bodies coming forward. He's really struggling to pick up those runs late. And it's 2-0. Ronaldo is on fire today. He's going to always cause them problems finding space. What has happened? His block has tackled the player in front of him, and that sums up FIFA in a nutshell. That's FIFA right there. I've dove the right way. He's got a hand to it and just parried it into his own net. That's fantastic.
Wonderfully weighted pass.
So I think I'm going to go to ultra attacking. My opponent's certainly a strong attacker. He's got a lot of amazing players as well, but I think he also is struggling a lot defensively with my attack, and so I believe this is going to open up some spaces. Oh, he's giving up the ball to Tav. Here it comes, the Hollywood ending. Perfect. Into the box. Neymar! And it's 1! I maybe spoke too soon. I said it's 1. I thought the game was over. We need to hold on, boys. Hold on. And there you have it, guys. The end of my 4-3-1-2 tactical review. If you enjoyed the content today, please hit that like button, subscribe the channel, click on alerts for future reviews, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a comment with maybe some formations you'd like to see me reviewing in the future. Overall, I hope you can see why I'm falling in love with the 4-3-1-2, the variety of goals that were scored, the creativity that you can have moving forward, the constant attacking options, and then the beautiful goals that come about from such an attacking formation. Once you unlock those wing backs, it's game over for opponents. There's so many options bombing forward, it's difficult to pick everyone up. But yet, there's that defensive stability that still comes with the formation, and that's why I absolutely love it. You can see the 3 center mids. If you have the right combination, the way that they work together is fantastic. Covering for one another, covering for your wingbacks, getting into the right spaces, and causing your opponents difficulty. You can see again with the right cam, Dybala was pulling out wide, getting on the ball, creating those chances for Ronaldo and Rooney, who themselves, you need those top quality strikers up top who can finish those hard-earned chances, and these two definitely fit that bill, and overall the formation just flows perfectly. I can't say enough about this. It's returned me to elite, and I'm just looking forward to what the future holds and how I can tinker with this formation and get it exactly where I want it moving forward. Again, I just want to thank you all for showing me the love lately on the channel. I can't get over all of you coming out and supporting me, and it means the world to me. I hope you're safe and well. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Anything